The champagne had just been poured when my sister made her announcement. "So Julia," Melissa said, her voice carrying that particular edge I'd learned to recognize over 26 years. "Now that you're done with school, we need to talk about the beach condo." I set down my glass. Around the table, my college friends, Sarah, David and Kim, grew quiet. My parents, seated at the opposite end of the restaurant's private dining room, looked up from their menus. "What about it?" I asked carefully. "Well, you don't need it anymore." Melissa smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "You'll be working in the city, living in some cramped apartment like every other new graduate. The condo is just sitting there, wasted on someone who'll never use it." My graduation ceremony had ended 2 hours ago. I'd walked across the stage, accepted my diploma in environmental engineering, and felt the weight of 4 years of late nights and early mornings finally lift from my shoulders. My grandmother would have been proud. "The condo isn't wasted," I said quietly. "I use it twice a year." Melissa laughed. "Please, Brandon and I are there every weekend. We've basically been maintaining it for you." My mother cleared her throat. "Melissa has a point, Julia. It does seem wasteful for you to hold on to a property you barely visit." I stared at my mother. "Grandmother left it to me." "Yes, well." My father folded his menu with deliberate precision. "Your grandmother had particular ideas about fairness, but family property should benefit the family." "I'm family," I pointed out. "You know what we mean," Melissa said. "Brandon and I are settled. We're planning to start a family soon. We need the space. You're just starting out. You don't need a 3-bedroom beachfront condo." Sarah, bless her, spoke up. "Wait, your grandmother left it specifically to Julia, right? Doesn't that mean—" "It means," Melissa interrupted, "that our grandmother played favorites, always did. Julia was the smart one, the special one. Never mind that I was the one who visited her every week in the nursing home." That was a lie. Melissa had visited our grandmother exactly 3 times in the 2 years before she died. I'd been there every Sunday, reading to her, playing cards, listening to her stories about growing up during the Depression. "Anyway," Melissa continued, pulling out her phone, "I've already arranged for movers tomorrow. Your little beach place is mine now. I'm already moving my stuff in." The table went silent. "You're what?" I managed. "Moving in." "Mom and Dad agree it makes sense." Melissa looked at our parents expectantly. My father sighed. "Julia, you have to understand. Melissa and Brandon are struggling. His business hasn't taken off the way they hoped, and their apartment lease is up next month. They need this. So you're just giving away my property." My voice stayed level despite the rage building in my chest. "It's not giving it away," my mother said. "It's sharing. Family shares." "Did you share when grandmother left you her china collection?" I asked my mother. "Did Melissa share when grandfather left her his car?" "That was different," Melissa snapped. "The car was only worth 15,000. Your condo is worth almost $1 million, which is why grandmother put it in a trust to protect it." My father waved his hand dismissively. "Trusts can be modified. We've already spoken to a lawyer." I pulled out my phone and sent a quick text. Then I looked at my sister. "You're not moving into my condo." "Too late." Melissa showed me her phone screen. A photo of a moving truck. "Movers are loading up now. We'll be in by tonight." That's when I saw him approaching our table. Robert Harrison, 72 years old, president of the Seaside Oaks Homeowners Association, for the past 15 years, walked with the determined stride of a man on a mission. He'd been my grandmother's friend, her bridge partner, and the executor of her estate. "Miss Anderson," he said, addressing me directly, "I apologize for interrupting your celebration, but there's an unauthorized moving truck at your beachfront unit. The security team has detained them at the gate." Melissa's face went white. "What?" "A moving truck attempted to access Unit 347, Robert continued, his tone professional but cold. "They claimed they had permission from the owner. However, our records show that Julia Anderson is the sole owner and resident of record. No authorization for access has been filed." "I gave them permission," Melissa said, recovering quickly. "I'm her sister. It's family property." Robert's expression didn't change. "The property is owned by the Elizabeth Morrison Trust, with Julia Anderson as the irrevocable beneficiary. Only Miss Anderson can authorize access." "This is ridiculous," my father interjected. "We're her parents. Surely we can." "No, sir, you cannot." Robert pulled out a tablet and brought up a document. Mrs. Morrison was very specific in her trust documents. Only Julia Anderson may occupy, rent or sell the property. Any attempt to circumvent these terms results in immediate legal action by the trust. I watched my family's faces as understanding dawned. My grandmother hadn't just left me the condo, she'd protected it. Julia, my mother said, her voice taking on that pleading tone I knew so well. Be reasonable, tell them to let the movers through. No, the word hung in the air. No, Melissa's voice rose. After everything we've done for you, what exactly have you done for me? I asked calmly. We paid for your college, my father said. Actually, my scholarships paid for 70%. Student loans covered the rest. You paid for Melissa's wedding, her car, and the down payment on her first apartment. You paid for my dorm room freshman year, then told me I was on my own. You were always so independent, my mother protested. You didn't need our help. I worked 3 jobs to pay for school, I said quietly. I studied in the library, because I couldn't afford textbooks. I ate ramen for months at a time. But you're right, I didn't ask for help, because every time I did, you told me to be more like Melissa, more social, more focused on finding a husband instead of wasting time on engineering. Sarah reached over and squeezed my hand. This is beside the point, Melissa said desperately. The condo is just sitting there. No, it's not. I looked at Robert. Mr. Harrison, could you please explain the current status of my property? Robert nodded. Unit 347 is currently leased to a graduate student studying marine biology at the university. Miss Anderson has been renting it at below market rates to students in environmental sciences for the past 3 years. The current tenant's lease runs through next August. My father's face went red. You've been renting it out. Grandmother wanted the condo to help people who loved the ocean the way she did, I explained. Marine biology students, environmental researchers, coastal conservation workers, people who would appreciate waking up to the sunrise over the water, but could never afford beachfront property otherwise. You're charging them rent? Melissa asked. Below market rate, enough to cover HOA fees, property taxes and maintenance. The rest goes into a scholarship fund. I pulled up my phone and showed them the foundation documents. The Elizabeth Morrison Environmental Scholarship. It's awarded annually to students studying ocean conservation. My mother looked confused. Why would you do that? You could be making thousands a month in rental income. Because grandmother didn't leave me the condo to make money. She left it to make a difference. Robert smiled slightly. Mrs. Morrison would be very proud. This is insane, Melissa said, her voice shaking. You're giving away money we need. Money you need, I corrected. Money from property that isn't yours and never will be. We're family, she shouted, loud enough that other diners turned to look. Then act like it. I stood up, gathering my purse. Act like you're happy I graduated. Act like you care that I spent 4 years working myself to exhaustion. Act like my accomplishments matter even a fraction as much as your convenience. Julia, my father started. No, I'm done. I looked at Robert. Can you please ensure the moving truck is escorted off the property? Already done. I've also updated the security protocols. No one will access your unit without your explicit written permission. Thank you. I turned to my college friends. Want to get out of here? There's a great taco place down the street. Sarah, David and Kim stood immediately. As we walked toward the exit, my mother called out, Julia, don't be dramatic. Come back and we'll discuss this reasonably. I paused at the door. There's nothing to discuss. The property is mine. Grandmother made sure of that. If you want to have a relationship with me that doesn't involve trying to take my things or minimize my achievements, you know where to find me. We left. The taco place was loud and cheap and perfect. My friends waited until we'd ordered before the questions started. Okay, Kim said. I need the full story. Your grandmother left you a beachfront condo. I nodded, taking a sip of my margarita. She bought it in 1987, right after my grandfather died. She said she wanted a place where she could watch the ocean and remember him. He was a Marine, died in Vietnam before I was born. That's beautiful, Sarah said softly. She loved that condo, lived there for 30 years. When she got sick and had to move to the nursing home, she told me she was leaving it to me in her will. I paused, remembering that conversation. She said Melissa would sell it immediately, use the money for something frivolous, but she thought I would understand why it mattered. Did you? David asked. Not at first. I was 22, just finishing undergrad. I thought maybe she was wrong about Melissa, that my sister would appreciate the sentimental value. I laughed bitterly. I was naive. What happened? Melissa contested the will, said grandmother was senile when she made it, that the property should be divided equally among all grandchildren. That was just me and her. Our cousin lives in Europe, hasn't been to the States in decades. But she lost? Kim asked. She lost. Grandmother had been evaluated by 3 different doctors in the year before she died. All declared her completely competent. Plus, she'd set up the irrevocable trust 2 years before her death, when she was definitely still sharp as a tack. Sarah leaned forward. What's an irrevocable trust mean exactly? Means it can't be changed or dissolved. Grandmother put the condo in the trust, named me as the sole beneficiary, and specified that only I could make decisions about the property. My parents can't touch it. Melissa can't touch it. It's protected. Your grandmother was smart, David said admirably. She was. She grew up during the Depression, saw her own mother lose everything when her father died, and relatives swooped in to claim the property. She told me, Julia, protect what matters. Don't let people take things just because they're loud or insistent or claim they deserve it more. So you rent it to students, Kim said. That's actually amazing. I smiled. It felt right. Grandmother loved the ocean. I'm an environmental engineer, focusing on coastal restoration. Helping students who want to protect marine ecosystems seemed like the best way to honor her. How much below market rate do you charge? Sarah asked. The market rate for a 3-bedroom beachfront condo is about $4,000 a month. I charge $1,200. David whistled. That's generous. It covers my costs, and the tenants take good care of the place because they're grateful to have it. I pulled out my phone and showed them photos. This is Marina, my current tenant. She's studying the impact of climate change on local coral reefs. She sends me updates on her research every month. The photos showed a young woman in diving gear, holding a clipboard, surrounded by underwater cameras and research equipment. That's incredible, Kim said. She's incredible. Last month, she discovered a new species of starfish, named it after my grandmother, Asteroidea elizabetha. Your grandmother has a starfish named after her. Sarah laughed. That's the coolest legacy ever. Better than having her granddaughter sell the condo and blow the money on a new car, right? I said pointedly. Is that what Melissa would have done? David asked. That's exactly what she wanted to do when grandmother first died. Told me we should sell, split the money, live a little. When I refused, she got our parents involved. Let me guess, Kim said. They took her side. Always do. Melissa's the older sister, the one who got married at 23 to a nice boys from a good family. Never mind that Brandon's business ventures all fail because he's lazy and entitled. Never mind that they live beyond their means and constantly need money. What does Brandon do? Sarah asked. Currently, he calls himself a business consultant. Before that, he tried to launch a cryptocurrency startup, a organic juice company, and a luxury car rental service. All failed within 6 months. But your parents support them. David sounded incredulous. Support them, enable them, and expect me to do the same. Because family helps family. Apparently. Unless you're me, in which case you should just work harder and stop being selfish. The food arrived, and for a few minutes, we ate in silence. Then Kim asked quietly, what are you going to do about your family? I considered the question. Nothing, probably. They'll either accept that the condo is mine, and off limits, or they won't. Either way, I'm not changing my mind. They might cut you off, Sarah warned. Cut me off from what? Criticism, constant comparisons to Melissa, being told my degree is nice as, but when am I going to settle down and find a husband? I shook my head. I've been essentially on my own since I was 18. This just makes it official. That's really sad, Kim said. It is, I agreed, but it's also freeing. I don't have to pretend anymore that they're proud of me, or that they care about my life beyond how it benefits Melissa. David raised his glass. To Julia, environmental engineer, landlord to marine biologists, and woman who doesn't take crap from entitled relatives, we clinked glasses. What's next for you? Sarah asked. Job-wise, I mean. I start at Coastal Restoration Solutions in 2 weeks. We design and implement projects to rebuild damaged coastal ecosystems, restoring wetlands, creating artificial reefs, that kind of thing. That sounds amazing, Kim said. It is. The starting salary isn't great, but I'll be doing work that matters. Plus I can always pick up consulting projects on the side if I need extra money. Are you going to keep renting the condo below market? David asked. Absolutely. It's what grandmother wanted. I paused. Actually, I've been thinking about expanding the scholarship fund. If I can get some donations, maybe offer more awards. There are so many students who want to study marine biology or environmental science but can't afford it. You could set up a nonprofit, Sarah suggested. My mom works in nonprofit management. I could connect you. Really? Really? This is good work, Julia. Your grandmother's legacy deserves to grow. I felt tears prickling my eyes. Thanks, guys, for being here, for supporting me. It means everything. Of course, Kim said, reaching across the table. That's what real family does. My phone buzzed. A text from my mother. You embarrassed us today. Call me when you're ready to apologize. I deleted it. Another text from Melissa. You're being incredibly selfish. Brandon and I need that condo. You have no idea what it's like to struggle. I blocked her number. Then a text from Robert Harrison. Security update. The moving truck has been banned from the community. Your tenant has been notified of the incident and confirms everything is secure. Let me know if you need anything else. I typed back, thank you so much, Robert. I really appreciate your help. His response came quickly. Your grandmother was one of my dearest friends. I promised her I'd look after you in the condo. I keep my promises. I smiled and put the phone away. Everything okay? Sarah asked. Yeah, I said. Everything's actually perfect. 3 days later, I received a letter from my parents' attorney. It claimed I had a moral obligation to share the property with my sister, that my grandmother's trust was unnecessarily restrictive, and that refusing to allow Melissa to use the condo constituted financial elder abuse of my parents who had invested in my education. I forwarded it to the trust's attorney, a woman named Patricia Coleman, who'd worked with my grandmother for 20 years. She called me within an hour. This letter is nonsense, Patricia said bluntly. Moral obligation isn't legally enforceable. The trust is airtight, and the financial elder abuse claim is laughable. Your parents are 62 and fully financially independent, so I just ignore it. I'll send a response explaining that any further harassment will result in a restraining order and a lawsuit for intentional infliction of emotional distress. That should shut them up. Thank you, Patricia. Julia, your grandmother knew this would happen. She knew your family would try to take what she left you. That's why she set up the trust the way she did, to protect you and her legacy. I miss her, I said quietly. She was incredibly proud of you. Did you know she had every article you published in the University Research Journal, every award certificate from your department? She kept them all in a scrapbook. I hadn't known that. Really, really. She used to show them to everyone at Bridge Club. My granddaughter, the environmental engineer. She's going to save the oceans. She believed in you completely. After we hung up, I sat in my apartment, my cramped, cheap apartment, that I'd rented with my own money, and cried. Not from sadness, but from gratitude. My grandmother had seen me, really seen me, had valued my dreams and protected my future, and I would honor that by living the life she'd believed I could achieve. 6 months later, I stood at the condo's balcony, watching the sunrise paint the ocean in shades of gold and pink. Marina, my tenant, had invited me to visit and see her latest research. The dining room table was covered in samples, photographs, and charts documenting coral reef health. This is incredible work, I said, studying the data. It's because of this place, Marina said. Living here, being able to access the reef sites quickly, having the space to process samples. I couldn't do any of this without your generosity. My grandmother's generosity, I corrected. I'm just following her lead. Well, I'm grateful to both of you. Marina pulled out a framed photograph. I wanted to give you this. It's the Asteroidea elizabetha, the starfish I named after her. The photograph showed a delicate, 5-pointed creature in brilliant orange and white, clinging to a piece of coral. It's beautiful, I whispered. She must have been an amazing woman. She was. She taught me that real wealth isn't about money or property. It's about making a difference, about using what you have to help others. Marina smiled. You learned the lesson well. My phone buzzed. A text from Sarah. Nonprofit paperwork approved. The Elizabeth Morrison Foundation is officially registered, ready to change the world. I typed back. Ready. I looked out at the ocean, imagining my grandmother sitting in this exact spot, watching this exact sunrise, dreaming of a future where her love for the sea would inspire others. I hope I'm making you proud, Grandma, I said softly. The waves crashed against the shore, steady and eternal, and somehow I knew she was.